How's it going, fellow traders? It's Magic Trader here, and this is the report for August 22nd, 2017. And here's a snapshot of the CFTC data that was collected on Friday. I put the pieces together over the weekend, and just been a little bit busy in my personal life, so managed to gather some time to put together this video for today. So let's get down to it. Okay, so what do we see? The first thing I want to look at is I want to look at gold, right? So longs are increasing up again this past week from 277,000 to 295,000. Now we got two sells that are red, which means the institutions are aggressively long. All right, so institutions are aggressively long. They are cooled off with their shorts, and long exposure jumps up 1 point. And take a look at this. Net positions went from 187,000 to 208,000. Okay, so they're very aggressively bullish right now, and this happened as we had this candle of consolidation. So candle of consolidation, and then move to the upside, right? So if we take a look at the charts and we look at what's happened since with gold, what happened here? We got a test of this area of demand, we got a test of this area of demand here, and shoots up like a rocket. So what's happening now is we can see that price is penetrating this weekly supply area, right? One penetration, deeper penetration, and now an even deeper penetration. If price continues to head up, we'll have a nice area here for demand, which can eventually be used for more longs. Okay, so right now I'm not planning any longs simply because we're not at a good spot to do so. So I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting to see what happens, and then buy on pullbacks. Excuse me. So let's go to the next one, oil. What do we see with oil? Some longs were taken off, and also some shorts. Net effect is long exposure remains at 75%, and net positions drop very slightly. And that happens with this candle where we have the drop from the weekly supply. And we're just sitting here right now. So what's happening? Well, what's happening is this supply has to be eaten up. So some longs were taken off, meaning sells were so buys were closed off, so you need sells to do that. So supply orders are being eaten up here, and I think eventually what's going to happen is we're going to get a break to the upside and then a retrace, and then I'll look to take longs, something similar to what I'm waiting for gold to do. That's kind of what my mind is thinking. Okay, US dollar. What do we see with the US dollar? Longs continue to be cooled off, right? Since June 20th, their longs have been cooled off, and shorts have been aggressive, right? Shorts have been aggressive, longs cooled off. And although short percentage is only 51%, which is only slightly more than half their positions, we've known since June 20th that they were extremely bearish because of the coloration of the cells. All right. So net positions are negative 1,400, which isn't much, but it's enough to get price to drop here. So if it retraces like I think gold is going to, I'll take shorts all the way down, just like that. All right, let's look at the Aussie US dollar. Longs decreased by about 2K, so does shorts. That happens with this here, so some profit taking, but shorts also close off because they are expecting price to head higher. Probably, very good chance that that's what's happened. That's what's going to happen. Long exposure jumps up 2 points. Very aggressive long bias. Coloration of the cells are really green, and we get an increase in net positions by about 1K. Not much, but enough. I was hoping that we were going to get a drop down to here before longs. It may happen, considering you looking at the US dollar. So on the weekly we need a drop. Yeah, that might happen. So if if this happens like that and then drops, then we can definitely get a move like this, you know, down here still, because the Aussie is not breaking up to new highs as the US dollar is breaking to new lows, right? Or recent lows, I should say. So the fact that it's holding is a very good sign that if that US dollar reverses upwards, we could get this move down here. So I'm waiting for longs down here. That's what I prefer. Alright, so let's take a look at the US CAD. So what do we see? Longs are cooled off and shorts are aggressive. So what does that tell us? That most likely the institutions are going to drop price. Look, increase from 71% shorts exposure to 73%, so even higher. Right now we're reacting to this area here, but it's looking extremely weak. Let's take a look here. See, we're reacting here, but it's reacting very weak. I think there's a good chance that, see, the US dollar broke lower, but this is holding, right? So what could potentially happen is if the US dollar reverses and heads up to that weekly supply area, we can get this sort of a move here. Up to here, to the weekly 20 EMA, and then down like that. Very good chance we get a move to here, and then down. So I'm waiting for that move up, and then I'll be looking to take shorts up in that area. Alright. Okay, so let's go to the next one. US Swiss franc. US Swiss franc longs decrease, shorts slightly decrease as well. Nothing really to see here. I don't like this chart. I don't like the data. Slight bullish bias. I think we're probably going to get a reaction from here and head higher. Maybe test this trend line, but I'm not too sure. The chart's really ugly looking. Let's take a look at the chart. Actually, oh, it eventually did break through. Nice. I gotta do some chart work and plot my supply and demand zones now. So it did end up breaking lower. Good. So nothing for me on this chart. I don't like it. I don't like what it's doing. I don't like the chart setups. There's nothing good here for me. So I move on to the next one. And Euro USD. So we have an increase in longs, right? Long exposure, very aggressive. Short exposure, very cooled off. And long exposure increases by another point. And net positions increase from 79,000 to 87,000. And what do we see? We have a break of this weekly supply zone. And so I'm expecting a retrace back to this area to take longs. That's what I would like to do on the weekly, because we're so overextended on the weekly. We got to get a pullback, at least on the weekly, to reset things. So that's what I'm watching for on the euro. And the pound, I'm bullish bias on this one. Been waiting for a reaction off this weekly demand, and that's exactly what we got right here. Weekly trend line still holding. So longs were closed off. That's because price was dropping, so profit taking on that. And shorts were also increasing, so they were hedging. They were closing off longs, and they were using shorts to get price to drop down into this weekly demand area. And I bet next week when we look at the data, we're going to see longs increasing again, probably back up to 63 or maybe even 64,000 as they fill in some of their longs, because we know they already filled in about 16,000 of their longs down this area, so they're most likely looking to fill in the rest of those longs. Alright, so coloration of the cells is blue, so that's telling us to just be careful with taking any trades right now. So I am waiting for some certain things to happen on the charts before I go long. There was a good trading opportunity here that originally I was looking to take, but then last minute changed my mind, and that ended up working really nicely. And then I drew this area of demand and was expecting maybe a reaction and then a further move down here, something like that. And this zone ended up working really well. So I'm hoping that price gets down here, because I'd like to take longs down on this area. Right now I can't buy because it's way too high. It's reacting from this area of resistance So I'm hoping that we get this move down here so I can take longs, right? So if US dollar retraces upwards, this should go down here. And then when US dollar goes back down, this should go up here. That's my way of thinking. I hope that that is what works out. If not, if it breaks up higher, if it breaks through these areas, I'll take zones up like that. Alright, so let's go to the next one, US dollar Japanese yen. We see longs were slightly closed out, shorts were increased, and that happened with this candle here. So why were longs being closed out? Well, because they were expecting price to drop, and shorts were increasing for that reason. So bias is bullish still. The sells are bullish. Net positions drop, and if you take a look, they've been dropping for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks straight, but they were so heavily long that it's taken them a while to get out, and that's why all these moves like this. But they're still holding a long bias, right? And the interesting thing is, if you take a look here, price breaks down lower, but then what happens? Now we're starting to get a retracement back up because they're not ready to take things completely down here yet. All right. So, and also US dollar is going to be rallying, so that's going to put pressure on this one, so that this one could easily move up here, you know. So I think they're going to use that to their advantage, the US dollar strength, so that they can close off more of their longs and get in more of their shorts. So waiting to see how that plays out, but I do want to get in short on this one, but only after this weekly area of demand is taken out. Kiwi dollar, what do we see? Longs are becoming less aggressive, dropping from 40 to 33 to 29, but shorts are really cooled off. Shorts are cooled off, but longs are becoming less aggressive. Bottom line is, it's still a bullish bias, with the coloration of the cells being green, 79%, long exposure, slight decrease in net positions from 24,000 to 21,000. By taking a look at this here, it tells me price wants to drop down to here. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm looking to take longs down here, or confirmation longs off of there. But I'm not going to be so eager to do that until price gets down there. Alright? And so that's pretty much it. What do we have on the news docket? On Friday we have NFP, so that's the big area of news. Everything leading up to that is going to be mediocre until that happens, and then we're going to get some movement in the markets. Markets have been actually moving quite well lately, so no complaints in regards to that. All right. Anyways, that's it for me. That's the CFTC report, and I hope you find it useful. And we'll see you next week.